Clement Panhard 4 HP Type VCP Voiture Grevies AV 1900. Already a successful maker of bicycles and pneumatic tires, he owned the Dunlop patents in France. Adolphe Clement diversified into automobile manufacture in 1899, taking an interest in the existing Gladiator concern. Rear-engine tricycles and quadricycles were made at the Gladiator works in Livlos-sur-Seine before Clement began building a conventional front-engine light car around 1901. Clement's early vehicles were powered by Astor, Panhard and Didion engines, all three makes being at the forefront of automobile development. The Clement Panhard was designed by Commandant Arthur Constantin Krebs, who had succeeded Emile Levasseur as technical and production manager of Panhard and Levasseur. It was assembled by Ateliers Clement at Livlos. Adolphe Clement was a P&L board member. Krebs was a first-class engineer who had built a successful airship in 1884 and subsequently designed an excellent automatic carburetor, but the whole concept of his Clement Panhard was so eccentric that, in the early days of the London-Brighton veteran car run, these 1902 cars were thought to date from the early 1890s. Among the peculiarities of the Clement Panhard were center pivot steering, a totally exposed gear transmission and a rear-mounted, not quite vertical, single-cylinder engine. To the true veteran enthusiast it represents the sort of challenge that makes completing the Brighton run so satisfying. Like many of these cars, it was always considered to be a 19th century automobile, but comparing its identification numbers with other surviving cars, some of which have had their date quantified officially as 1900, suggests that is it from just after the turn of the century. The model was usurped quickly by products of Clement and Panhard manufacture as separate entities, and so by definition it would be comfortably within the dating period of earlier than 1905, required by events such as the world-renowned London to Brighton veteran car run in the UK. These cars were equipped with a variety of body styles, this car taking a more unusual form of vis-vis, with opposed seats and a small front seat perched over the transverse front axle. According to the family archives, Lindley Bothwell Jr. acquired the Clement Panhard in the early days, most probably in the 1940s. It is certainly pictured in group photos of the collection. Very few examples of this model are recorded as having been delivered to the US, so it may safely be assumed that it was originally delivered within the country of its build and migrated across the Atlantic later on in its life. Viewed today, it would seem that it has been a considerable time since it was last used, however this hasn't been to its detriment particularly, and it retains many of its original features as well as the original manufacturer's plate on the car and engine, and down to the use of the solid rubber tires with which it would no doubt have left the factory with. The Clement Panhard appears to have been well prized within the collection, taking pride of place in the main study area, where the Peugeot, Benz and Mercedes were exhibited, stored. It was equally recognized by the publication Concours d'Elegance, by Joseph Wary, in 1969, where it was one of only a handful of cars to receive a full-page color illustration. The car has clearly been refurbished cosmetically since those days to a single primrose color scheme.